Hey folks, so this is the legislative update for the week just passed. We're going to start out with honoring PTSD Awareness Day, which it is. Post-traumatic stress disorder, oftentimes called post-traumatic stress injury or PTSI. It's a day just to know that there are a lot of people, and listen, you don't have to serve in combat. There's a lot of people in different arenas, law enforcement, or otherwise that there are events in their life that are just very, very traumatic. You don't even have to serve to have very traumatic events happen in your life and suffer from post-traumatic stress injury. And while we're acknowledging that today, I just want to remind everybody today that I have been a champion, not able to get it through yet, approved at 11 Veterans Affairs facility of the thing called SGB, or stellate ganglion block, which is a treatment which is 85% effective in treating PTSD or PTSI, and specifically works to prevent veteran suicides in relation to the VA. So we continue to work on that, and maybe it's just a moment to think and acknowledge the people that suffer under these circumstances, and to know that we're working on solutions, and there is one that is 85% effective available right now. So we'll start with that, and then we'll go to what's happening with the one, as it's called, the One Big Beautiful Bill. It is currently in the Senate, and the Senate in reconciliation has to send its provisions through the parliamentarian, who determines whether they're written correctly, because there have to be a greater financial impact than a policy impact, if that makes sense to you. In any case, some of those things have been stripped out, which is absolutely true. However, it's oftentimes a technical problem where they can change the language a little bit and they'll be put back in. Of course, the president wants this on his desk by July 4th. I'm not sure that that's really... I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't know that that's probable right now as the Senate works through the bill itself, and they haven't started voting yet, so they have to vote on amendments and all that kind of thing. I know we're days and days away, but it sits in the Senate right now. We'll see what they produce. As you know, I voted for the bill with some reservation because I think it spends way too much money. And there are a lot of improvements that can be made, especially to the green new energy requirements. And topically, because I know it's just been a hot week, we were very, very close in Pennsylvania and in the 10th district to having received calls or emails or texts from our power company saying, please turn your air conditioning off, please restrain from using electric power. And of course, that comes right before they shut the power down because the system is overloaded. The things I'm trying to see changed in this bill are the things that are causing that overloading of our system, because we incentivize unreliable power, and reliable power gets pushed to the wayside and then eventually shuts down, and it's no longer available in these peak demand times where we need a lot of power. That notwithstanding, I know that if you're looking at your electricity bills over the last couple years, they continue to go up. And under the provisions in this bill, unless changed, they're going to continue to go up. I know that people are struggling in the 10th district, and I'm fighting that. And one of the ways I'm fighting that is to make sure your electricity bills don't go up. And so that's one of the things I'm watching coming out of the Senate on the bill. Next, on Iran, I know that you're probably well familiar with what has happened there. Whatever your position is on that, I do support the president's decision, and I would characterize what happened this way. Iran was and has been pursuing a nuclear weapon and the capability to deliver it anywhere in the world, including, of course, Israel, but also the United States, and they were coming very close. And I thought that we should not allow them to have that. They were a terrorist nation. They shouldn't be allowed to have that capability in the first place. And in the past, nations would have to go to war to stop something like that. What does that mean for the United States? That means picking up your army, shipping them overseas or flying them overseas, all that equipment, staging them somewhere on a border, and then going into that country and taking action. This is the 21st century, and one of the marvelous capabilities has allowed the United States Air Force and the staff members and the planners to quietly, silently, secretly go halfway around the globe, deal with a hostile enemy, remove their capability, destroy their capability to start a nuclear war, and then be back in the food court 36 hours later, having changed the trajectory of the history of the world. That, if you think about how amazing that is, without any casualties. Certainly no casualties on our side, and I haven't heard any casualties on the Iranian side either. So there might be some, and so I'll just leave that disclaimer out there, but just think about how successful your country has been at keeping not only you safe, but the world safe. And I think it is a magnificent, magnificently successful operation, and those who conducted it are to be commended. The president is to be commended for taking this decisive action. And so with that, I just want to wish you a great upcoming Independence Day weekend. I know that a lot of us just instinctively call it July 4th. I hope you will fly your flag. But remember, other than July 4th, it is Independence Day, where we sought independence as a nation to chart our own course. And of course, what's also important to remember on Independence Day is the sacrifices made by those who pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors so we could have our own country and determine our own destiny. So I hope you will think of it in those terms and just remember and acknowledge that. And I hope you are doing well and prosperous and that you're safe. God bless you.